Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders are living through a season that feels like a constant balancing act, where every step forward is followed by another setback. And just when the team finds a glimpse of rhythm, injuries come in waves to disrupt everything. For weeks into the 2025 campaign, Washington's record reflects the chaos they've been forced to endure, and at the center of it all sits the frustrating question marks surrounding their offensive leaders. Rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels, who entered the season as a beacon of hope for a franchise desperately searching for stability at the position, has already missed 2 straight games with a knee issue. His absence has left the offense without its intended identity, and while his limited return to practice last week offered a dose of optimism, fans are still left clinging to uncertainty about when he will truly be himself again. Yet, as concerning as Daniels' situation is, the spotlight has shifted even more intensely onto Terry McLaurin, the heartbeat of Washington's receiving corps, whose quadriceps injury has turned into the defining storyline of the early season. McLaurin's injury came at perhaps the worst possible time. Late in the third quarter of the Week 3 matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders, he pulled up awkwardly after a deep reception that highlighted exactly why he remains one of the most explosive and reliable receivers in football. He left the game with 3 receptions for 74 yards, but the sight of him limping off was far more significant than the box score. Since then, Washington's offense has looked incomplete, like a puzzle missing its centerpiece. The passing game has struggled to create separation and sustain drives, and while role players have tried to step up, it has been obvious just how much of the scheme is built around McLaurin's ability to demand attention and win in critical moments. Head coach Dan Quinn has been forced to adjust on the fly, but in the NFL, replacing a top wideout of McLaurin's caliber is rarely something a team can mask. The updates on McLaurin have been a roller coaster of vague timelines and cautious optimism. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported last week that McLaurin was still unable to run, a discouraging sign for anyone hoping for a quick recovery. On Monday, however, Quinn attempted to infuse some hope into the discussion by saying that McLaurin was trending in the right direction. Still, the coach avoided putting a timetable on his return, leaving fans and analysts alike stuck in a fog of speculation. We will have a better update on Wednesday in terms of practice planning and that. But arrows are heading up for a number of the guys, Quinn told reporters, choosing his words carefully. For now, McLaurin remains day-to-day in the most frustrating way possible, his presence hanging like a shadow over the Commanders' preparation for Week 5. With all of this swirling, Washington made a move designed to patch a growing hole in its roster. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported that the Commanders signed wide receiver Robbie Chosen, formerly known as Robbie Anderson, to their practice squad. For fans who remember his breakout season with the Carolina Panthers in 2020, the name carries some weight. That year, Chosen looked like a star in the making, hauling in 95 passes for 1,096 yards and proving he could be more than just a deep threat. His speed and lanky frame gave defenses problems, and at the time, it appeared that he might carve out a long-term role as a dangerous number 2 option in any passing attack. But since then, his career has been a winding road filled with flashes of production, but never the consistency to hold on to a featured role. His most recent stop came with the Miami Dolphins in 2024, where he registered just 1 catch for 5 yards. For Washington, the signing of Chosen is less about recreating the magic of his 2020 season and more about finding a veteran presence who can step in and provide stability to a young, thin group of receivers. With McLaurin out, Jayden Daniels, or whoever lines up under center, has been forced to rely on unproven targets, making the offense easier to defend. Chosen may not be the explosive playmaker he once was, but he does bring nearly a decade of NFL experience, knowledge of multiple offensive systems, and the ability to line up both outside and in the slot. That versatility matters when coaches are desperate for options, and even if his role begins on the practice squad, the door is wide open for him to find snaps on Sundays. Sometimes, just the presence of a veteran in the locker room can make a difference, especially in helping younger receivers handle the pressure of replacing a star. The move also says something about how Washington views McLaurin's timeline. While Quinn continues to preach patience and optimism, The reality is that teams don't go out and add a 31-year-old receiver unless they're worried about needing depth for more than a week or two. Signing Chosen doesn't mean McLaurin is out for the season, but it does underline the uncertainty around his return. For a team that came into the year trying to build chemistry around Daniels' growth, this is a massive disruption. A rookie quarterback's development is often tied to the comfort of having reliable playmakers, and McLaurin was supposed to be that safety net, the target Daniels could trust when everything else broke down. Without him, those reps are either going to unproven receivers or, now, potentially to a veteran fighting for one last shot to prove he belongs. The timing of the move is also critical. Washington is coming off a tough loss to the Atlanta Falcons, a game that highlighted both their defensive potential under Dan Quinn and their glaring offensive shortcomings without McLaurin. Next up is a home clash against the Los Angeles Chargers in Week 5, a matchup that could turn into a shootout depending on which version of the Chargers shows up. If Daniels is cleared to return, his presence will give the Commanders a much-needed boost of energy and explosiveness, but he'll need weapons to keep up with Justin Herbert on the other side. Whether McLaurin can suit up remains the million-dollar question, and if he cannot, Robbie Chosen's presence could become more than just a practice squad move. It could be the beginning of a late-career redemption story. Of course, fans of the Commanders know not to expect miracles. Chosen's signing is not meant to suddenly transform the offense or erase the absence of McLaurin. At this stage, it's about survival, about finding ways to manufacture enough production to keep games competitive while waiting for the stars to return. It's about giving Daniels, or the backups who have filled in, someone who has at least seen the speed of an NFL defense and knows how to find soft spots in coverage. Chosen's career has been defined by unpredictability, from his breakout year to his quieter stretches, and now, he has the chance to rewrite the final chapter in Washington colors. For Commanders fans, the frustration is real. The excitement of a new era under Dan Quinn and Jayden Daniels has quickly been tempered by injuries that feel eerily familiar for a franchise that has often battled health issues at key positions. The silver lining is that the season is still young, and if McLaurin's recovery truly is trending in the right direction, he could be back before long. Daniels' knee, while a concern, also seems close to turning the corner. The next few weeks will tell us a lot about the resilience of this roster, and whether quick fixes like Chosen can hold the line long enough for the stars to return. For now, Washington's reality is simple. They are fighting to stay afloat in a season where injuries have already stolen some of their brightest momentum. The signing of Robbie Chosen is a reminder of how fragile an NFL season can be, and how quickly a team can go from contender to scrambling for answers. But it is also a reminder that opportunities exist for those willing to seize them. Chosen has one more shot to prove he belongs, and the Commanders have one more piece to work with as they search for their identity. Week 5 looms as a pivotal moment, with the Chargers coming to town, Daniels eyeing his return, and McLaurin's status casting a long shadow. In the NFL, nothing is guaranteed, but stories like these, where veterans seek redemption, rookies chase growth, and teams rally against adversity, are what keep fans believing that the next chapter might be the one that changes everything. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. There's a storm brewing in Washington, and it's not just the changing winds of the capital. In what can only be described as a shocking twist for the NFL world, wide receiver Terry McLaurin has reportedly cut ties with quarterback Jayden Daniels, and insiders suggest that this isn't just a minor disagreement. It's a seismic shift that could redefine the Commanders' offensive strategy for years to come. Rumors began circulating late last week, initially dismissed as hearsay, but sources close to the team are painting a picture of a star player who is no longer willing to work within the existing quarterback dynamic. Terry McLaurin, a name synonymous with clutch plays and electrifying receptions, is said to have demanded a new direction for the team's attack, signaling that his patience has reached its limit and that he's looking for a system that maximizes his talents rather than limits them. From the outside, it seems almost unbelievable. McLaurin has been the face of the Commanders' receiving corps for years, the player who could shift the momentum of a game with a single reception, the guy defenders fear lining up across from. And yet, despite his commitment to the franchise, Insiders indicate that McLaurin has grown increasingly frustrated with the inconsistency and playstyle of Jayden Daniels. Daniels, who came in with high expectations and a reputation for poise and athleticism, appears to have struggled to build the chemistry that McLaurin demands from his quarterbacks. Sources hint that the tension has been building over the past several months, culminating in meetings behind closed doors where McLaurin reportedly expressed his dissatisfaction, emphasizing that he believes the offense needs a complete overhaul if the team is to contend in a league that leaves no room for mediocrity. What's particularly striking is the boldness of McLaurin's move. Cutting ties with a quarterback isn't just a personal choice. It's a statement that sends ripples through the entire locker room. Teammates, coaches, and fans are now caught in a wave of uncertainty. The whispers suggest that McLaurin feels he's reached a point where staying silent would compromise his career trajectory, implying that he may not just be asking for minor adjustments, but for a fundamental change in how the offense is run. Rumors hint that he wants more freedom in route choices, more aggressive play calling, and a quarterback who can anticipate his movements without hesitation, a combination he feels has been missing with Daniels. The reaction within the organization has reportedly been mixed. Some executives are said to sympathize with McLaurin, acknowledging that a player of his caliber deserves to operate within an offense designed around his strengths. Others, however, view his stance as controversial, potentially divisive, and even destabilizing. There's talk that internal discussions have been heated, with coaches debating whether to fully support McLaurin's demands or to try to reconcile the apparent rift. It's rare to see such a publicized disagreement in a locker room, and the Commanders now find themselves walking a tightrope, balancing loyalty to one of their star players with the need to maintain stability and trust throughout the team. Fans have taken to social media with a mix of shock, anger, and speculation. Some are calling for Daniels to step up and prove that he can meet McLaurin's standards, while others suggest that perhaps the time has come to pivot entirely, to find a quarterback who can truly unlock the offense's potential. Analysts are weighing in with varying opinions, some questioning whether McLaurin's demands are reasonable and others praising his assertiveness, arguing that elite players must have a voice in how their skills are utilized. Meanwhile, whispers from inside the league suggest that rival teams are watching closely, knowing that any sign of internal conflict could present an opportunity to swoop in and capitalize on the situation, whether through trades, free agency, or strategic play calling designed to exploit perceived weaknesses. Adding fuel to the speculation, insiders hint that McLaurin's move may not just be about on-field performance. There's talk that the wide receiver has grown frustrated with the broader culture and direction of the franchise, feeling that his vision for how the team should play is not being taken seriously. If true, this is not simply about X's and O's. It's about leadership, influence, and the desire of a top-tier player to ensure that the team is aligned with his own standards of competitiveness and excellence. Some sources suggest that McLaurin has even started informal conversations with his agent and other league executives to explore his options, quietly signaling that he's prepared to make bold moves if the current situation remains unchanged. At the same time, Jayden Daniels remains a pivotal figure in this unfolding drama. While much of the spotlight has fallen on McLaurin, Daniels' response, or lack thereof, could define his career trajectory. Rumors suggest that Daniels has been trying to remain professional and focused, but the pressure of living up to McLaurin's expectations is no small task. Coaches reportedly are working behind the scenes to bridge the gap, attempting to build a rapport and address the offensive misalignments that have fueled the friction. Whether Daniels can rise to the challenge, or whether this tension will escalate into an unmanageable situation, remains one of the most tantalizing storylines of the season. As the NFL world watches, speculation is reaching fever pitch. Could the Commanders' management acquiesce to McLaurin's demands, reshaping the offense around him? Will Daniels step up to meet the challenge, or will the team face a choice between their star wide receiver and their young quarterback? There's no clear answer yet, and every day seems to bring new whispers, new leaks, and new conjecture. What is clear, however, is that the situation has exposed the delicate balance between individual talent and team cohesion, highlighting just how much influence a player like Terry McLaurin can wield when he decides that he's no longer willing to compromise. For now, the story is still developing, and every source seems to have a slightly different version of events. One thing is certain, The Commanders are at a crossroads. The decisions made in the coming weeks could redefine not only their season but the future of the franchise. Fans, analysts, and insiders are all on edge, waiting for the next move in what may be the most talked-about rift in recent NFL memory. Whether McLaurin's demands lead to a revolution in the team's offensive philosophy or whether they precipitate a painful recalibration of relationships, the ripple effects are undeniable. The NFL thrives on drama, and this particular saga has all the elements: star power, tension, ambition, and the underlying question that hangs over every play. Can the Commanders find a path forward that satisfies everyone involved? Or is this the beginning of a seismic shakeup that will be felt across the league? Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.